This is the Barricade Modular Extreme HD Grille Guard in black, and it's available for all 2014 through 2018 Silverado 1500s. Now, you should be checking out the Barricade if you're looking for one of the most affordable ways to upgrade the front end protection on your rig, while also adding a much tougher appearance at the same time. Now, this option will combine a tubular steel build with a plate steel build finished in a black powder coat and a bolt together design that will ultimately save on shipping costs, all for right around the mid $700 price point. So the big appeal with grille guards in general will be the major upgrade in front end protection, along with a very tough appearance, all at a pretty reasonable price point, at least here at the Barricade, when compared to other big brand name options in the category. Now, a big part or a big reason why this particular option is a little bit more budget friendly is the fact that they've stuck with a heavy duty steel build in place of the more expensive stainless steel build. And again, they have taken a modular approach to this option, meaning some assembly is required. As you can see here on the table, it is blown apart, but that is done in helping to keep those shipping costs down to a minimum. Now, taking a closer look at the design itself, you will get these burly twin vertical supports here, which will offer a substantial amount of front end protection on their own. And that could be anything from light impacts on or off-road, or even on the work site. And in addition to some other stuff, just general parking, if you will, from people bumping into the front of your truck. Now, from there, you will get the tubular DOM steel tubing protecting the headlight area, in addition to the hood and grille area here with this particular piece. And as you can see, you do have kind of that metal mesh, chicken wire, whatever you want to call it in the middle. It is also made from a heavy duty steel material. Now, if you weren't aware, grille guards also make for a great place to mount auxiliary lighting that you may have planned for the front of your Silverado. And the best part about that is you don't need to drill into your actual truck. Instead, you can mount light bar mounts to the bars themselves. Whatever the case, you have a lot of options when going with something like this, in addition to the original feature or benefit of protection. Moving into construction, and this option will combine that thick plate steel here for the vertical supports, or the vertical structure, if you will. And that's going to be the main source of your biggest protection. From there, we're going to the mandrel bent DOM steel tubing, smaller tubing to cover the headlight and fender area, whereas you have the slightly bigger tubing here for the front end and grille area. Now, another nice thing to point out with this particular option from Barricade is just how well it hugs the front end of your Silverado when installed. I know you guys can see some of those beauty shots that we have with this thing fully bolted up. You can also go ahead and cruise on over to the customer submitted images page. You get a really good sense, again, just how well this thing does fit once it's bolted together and actually installed. Finally, guys, that steel tubing has been given this gloss or satin black powder coat, if you will, that is going to help keep things corrosion resistant, of course, over time, and keep things looking good for many years to come. The grille guard does include all the necessary hardware and everything needed to get it bolted up to the front of your truck. Price point for the Barricade Grille Guard will land in that mid to high $700 ballpark, making this one of the more affordable grille guard options on the site at the time of this video, coming in hundreds less than compared to options from both Weston and Ranch Hand. But regardless, if you want to see the rest of our selection, check them out right here at AmericanTrucks before making your final decision. All right, last but not least, now we want to segue into the installation, and the site's going to call this a strong 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. And I say strong because this thing is heavy, coming in right around 100 pounds, give or take a little bit. You're gonna wanna make sure you have an extra set of hands to help you lift this thing in place when it comes time to install it on your Silverado at home. Now, outside, I would say leave yourself about an hour or so to complete this from start to finish, and you should be good to go. But regardless, to give you a better idea of how this one might go down on your Silverado at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, 3/8 extension, clip removal tool, 18, 16, 13, and 10 millimeter socket, 18, 16, and 13 millimeter wrench, and a 5 millimeter Allen wrench. All right, today we're gonna be installing a grille guard on our Silverado. First, we'll watch a quick video to uninstall a stock bumper to get you to this point here, and then we'll come back here to install the new grille guard.
All right, so the first step in our uninstall is to remove the Rad Sport cover by removing all of the pop clips that hold it in. Grab your pop clip removal tool and let's get these out. With all of the pop clips removed, lift up on the RAV Sport cover and remove it. Next up, remove the 4 bolts that hold in our grille. Using a 10mm socket, let's get these out. Now before we can take out our grille, we need to remove the lower grille portion, this trim piece here. And before we can do that, we need to take the 2 7mm bolts, one in each side of the wheel well. Grab your 7mm socket and let's get these out. Repeat that on the other side. With the 7mm bolts out on both sides, pop each corner free. Now you can remove this bottom trim piece. With our trim piece removed, we can now remove the bolts holding in the bottom of our grille. Grab your 10mm socket and let's get these out. With all 4 bolts removed from the top and the bottom, grab your grille and pull straight forward. Before we remove our bumper, we need to unplug the fog light harness.
All right, so here we're gonna be removing our tow hook to install our new bracket that's gonna go in place. Now we're gonna grab our impact extension 18mm socket, go on this side, and an 18mm wrench to take off the front bolt. Back one. All right, we'll just get our bolt out, remove our tow hook. We're gonna set our hook and hardware aside. We're not gonna be reusing them. Now we have our new bracket. It's gonna sit in like so. First we have to put in our bolt plates. So our double bolt plate will be on the outside, single one on the inside. And then on each of those, we're gonna go ahead and put a flat washer, lock washer, and then a nut. Now this is also 18mm hardware, so we're just going to use the same impact and 18mm socket with an extension. Go ahead and tighten those down. Now once you have this side done, you go do the same thing on the other side. So now we can set our bumper back in place over our new brackets. And go ahead and get our factory hardware back installed. So now on the top side of our bumper, we have our 2 bolts. So we're just gonna thread those in up top. Here and one down at the bottom. We're gonna grab our impact extension and 18mm socket and tighten those 2 down. Go ahead and do the same thing for the other 2 on the other side. All right, now on the bottom of our bumper on either side, we have our 1 bolt for our support bar. So we'll get that threaded in. Grab our impact extension and 18mm socket and go ahead and tighten that down. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So now that our bumper's back on, we're gonna get our bracket on. That goes onto the bracket that we replaced our tow hooks with. It's gonna look like so. You'll see that it is labeled passenger side. There are 3 welded nuts on the bottom, so we have our bolts that will go through the top. We have a lock washer and flat washer on them. These are a little bit of a pain to get started just because it's kind of tight to get your fingers in here. But we'll get our first one just a little snug so it's flat up against it and get the back two started. Get these pretty much snug so our ratcheting wrench will actually tighten them down and not just free spin. You see there's a bunch of adjustment. I'm just gonna float this kind of centered and grab our 13mm ratcheting wrench and tighten these down. All right, now you may need to come back and loosen these just to make any minor adjustments when we actually do put our bar on, but that's nice and easy to get to. Now let's put our top bracket on. All right, for our top bracket, we're actually gonna take out this bolt that we installed earlier. So grab our impact and 18mm socket. Set that aside. Now our bracket's going to go on like so. We're gonna pretty much make it lined up with that bottom bracket, but you'll see here it does hit. That's where our foam is gonna come in handy. So we're gonna get our backing off our double side tape. Just, you can go ahead and rest that where it is going to fit across. You can cut this shorter if you want, but we're just gonna tuck ours up and over. Just make it a little bit easier for us. Really doesn't look that bad. It's gonna fit like so. Now we can go ahead and reinstall our bolt. Once again, make sure that's lined up with the bottom one. We may need to adjust it, but that's no big deal. Grab our impact 18mm socket and tighten that down. Now you can go ahead and repeat the same thing with the other two brackets on the other side. All right, now we can reinstall our grill. Just line up all of our tabs, give it a tap in place. And now we just have to reinstall our 4 bolts going across the top. We'll grab our 10mm sockets and then our ratchet 10mm socket, tighten those down. Next, we can put our rad cover back on and reinstall all of our push clips going across. All right, now I did break one taking it off. That's no big deal. We are missing one, but you just want to make sure you either replace or reinstall the last one. Then we can close our hood. All right, so now we're gonna start assembling our bull bar on the ground. And as you see, we have our main screen. The bars will be in the front. We have our side rail. You'll see that it will curve outwards. That's how you want it. And then we have our headlight cover, which will go over top. Now we have our bottom bar down here that is going to get bolted up with our 1 Allen bolt on either side. I'm just gonna get this threaded on here just to help hold this up in place. Line up all of our bolt holes on this. Now through all 4 of these holes here, we're gonna have our bolt with a flat washer and a flat washer and nut on the opposite side. Let's get these lined up and started. All right, so I'm gonna get our one down at the bottom here. That simply just goes through these 2 pieces of metal. It'll help hold it up in place. While we get the other 3 aligned. Definitely is a little awkward and definitely could use a buddy to help you, but not impossible to do by yourself. Last one up top here. Let's go. Now, if you don't have enough threads to get your nut on, Everything else just might need to be snugged up a little bit. We have enough to get this started. Then we're gonna go ahead and grab our ratchet 13mm socket and the 13mm wrench, tighten these down. All right, grab our 5mm Allen wrench. We're gonna tighten our bottom bar down here. Just hold that so it doesn't spin. And then you can repeat all these same steps for the other side of the bull bar. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and get our buddy to help us get this in place. Now our bottom two bolts are gonna be our two M10s with flat washers on either side and then a nut. And then our top bracket bolt, which is going to go through either this one or this one, probably the top one. We'll know once we get it up there. Is gonna be our long M8 bolt, same thing, flat washers and nut. That will go through the top bar and the bull bar. Now let's go get our buddy and get this in place. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and tighten these two down on the bottom. Now you might need to move this and adjust it where you want, but we have our ratchet with a 16mm socket and a 16mm wrench to hold the head. And we're gonna switch to a 13mm socket and 13mm wrench for our top bracket bolt. Now you just go ahead and do the same thing on the other side and maybe make any minor adjustments if needed. And that wraps up our install of our Barricade Modular Extreme HD Grille Guard, colored black, for our 2014 to 18 Silverado 1500. And remember, for everything Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.